Though somewhat rare in the early stages of a federal investigation, authorities have shared booking photos of nearly a dozen suspects, images of weapons, tactical gear, and graffiti.
America, these anti-ICE protesters have completely lost their minds. 6 women were just arraigned on federal charges in their roles in what prosecutors call a coordinated ambush attack on law enforcement officers in Texas. We're talking about a planned operation with AR-15 style rifles, body armor, two-way radios, and military tactics that left one police officer shot in the neck. But here's what should concern you. This wasn't some random act of violence. This was a calculated attack designed to target federal agents, and it shows how dangerous these situations have become.
6 women charged for their roles in the shooting of an Alvarado police officer faced a federal judge today.
It's a crazy story. The officer was responding to a vandalism call at an ICE detention center.
What is up, guys? Tyson here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This story reveals the serious escalation in violence against law enforcement and the sophisticated planning behind what prosecutors call a terrorist attack. Before we dive into the story, let me quickly explain what an arraignment is for those that might not know. An arraignment is the first formal court appearance where defendants are officially informed of their charges against them and asked to enter in a plea deal, guilty, not guilty, or no contest. It's basically where the legal process officially begins after their arrest.
Supporters of the defendants did not want to make any statements after the women were arraigned on charges connected to the shooting of an Alvarado police officer. The officer survived.
The 6 women, Savannah Baton, Joy Gibson, Marcela Rodia, Elizabeth Soto, Lynette Sharp, and Rebecca Morgan, just faced federal charges for their roles in this particular attack. Look at these suspects here. You can clearly see some interesting patterns. One suspect has distinctive pink hair, and we know what that means. According to court documents, several were dressed in black military-style clothing during the incident.
The court-appointed attorneys also said they did not want to make any statements yet about what happened the night of July 4th. The defendant's supporters said it was a protest outside an ICE detention center.
Their supporters are calling this a protest, but when you look at the evidence, AR-15 style rifles, body armor, a police shot in the neck, this goes far beyond any traditional definition of a protest. Let me break down exactly what happened on July 4th at Pearland Detention Center in Alvarado, Texas. According to federal prosecutors, this wasn't a spontaneous demonstration. This was a carefully planned operation designed to lure law enforcement into the ambush.
According to the federal complaint, several of the defendants were dressed in black military-style clothing. The complaint says the protesters began shooting fireworks at the Pearland Detention Center.
This operation started with protesters dressed in all black military-style clothes shooting fireworks at the detention center. 2 people broke off from the main group, then began spray painting graffiti on vehicles and guarded structures.
Officials believe it was all part of a ploy to draw ICE detention officers out of the building.
The plan was to create a situation that would bring law enforcement to the scene where they would be vulnerable to attack.
Correctional officers called 911 to report the vandalism. When the Alvarado police officer arrived, a defendant positioned in the woods shot the officer in the neck.
When the Alvarado police officer arrived to investigate the vandalism call, a defendant positioned in the woods shot him in the neck. Simultaneously, another attacker across the street fired 20 to 30 rounds at an unarmed correctional officers. The level of preparation and equipment found at the scene is what distinguishes this from typical protest activity. We're talking about sophisticated gear and tactical planning.
Investigators found AR-style rifles at the scene, two-way radios, and a total of 12 sets of body armor after searching the scene and defendants' cars.
The quantity of protective equipment suggests that they were prepared for extensive confrontation with law enforcement. One particularly concerning detail, one of the attackers had cell phones inside a special bag that blocks cell phone signals. This type of equipment is typically used to avoid electronic surveillance and tracking by law enforcement.
The attack was a conspiracy, according to the complaint, something the defendant's supporters strongly dispute.
The investigation reveals this wasn't a local group of protesters. We've seen this before. According to court documents, the suspects came from multiple cities across Texas: Fort Worth, Dallas, Cannondale, and College Station.
All over the state. These are not people that were neighbors and decided to get together and cause harm.
These were individuals that are basically across the state of Texas and have come together in some sort of organized way. According to court documents, one suspect told officers he met people online and drove them to the detention center to make some noise. The coordination through online networks suggests a level of planning that goes beyond spontaneous protest activity. The FBI found anarchist flyers and flags at the scene, which provides some insight on the motivation behind the attack. Law enforcement officials have characterized this more than typical protest activity. Texas Municipal Police Association Representative Clint McNair described this as a planned, coordinated guerrilla warfare ambush attack.
It is a planned, coordinated guerrilla warfare ambush attack. And it's terrorism as far as I'm concerned.
The level of tactical preparation, including the use of camouflage, some suspects were even covered in mud, suggests military-style planning rather than typical protest organization. The wounded police officer is recovering from being shot in the neck. The incident has prompted a significant security response at the detention center.
Since the shooting, that neighbor tells me there's been a huge police presence here, including this checkpoint with an armored vehicle set up by Homeland Security officers.
Homeland Security has established checkpoints with armored vehicles around the facility. The scale of security response indicates the seriousness in which authorities are treating this particular incident. In total, at least 16 people have been charged in this case, with additional arraignments scheduled. The defendant's supporters questioned why the hearing occurred 11 weeks after the arrest, but attorney noted this timeline is typical when federal and state agencies coordinate on complex investigation. Criminologists are studying whether this incident fits a broader pattern of violence against law enforcement. Dr. Alex Del Carmen from Tarleton State University noted the possibility of coordinated efforts.
One possibility is that they are related and that this is a national concerted effort, to go after first responders, which could always be. And they have not made that connection yet.
The coordination across multiple Texas cities, sophisticated equipment, and tactical planning distinguish this from typical protest activity and suggest a much more organized approach. America, the arraignment of these 6 women represents a significant development in what prosecutors described as a coordinated attack on law enforcement. The evidence presented, AR-15 style rifles, body armor, tactical radios, and military style planning, goes far beyond your typical radical protest activity. The fact that suspects traveled across Texas, coordinated online, and brought sophisticated equipment raises some serious questions about the organization behind this attack. With 16 people charged in total, we're looking at what appears to be a substantial network. The police officer who was shot in the neck survived, but this incident highlights the escalating risks faced by law enforcement officers, particularly those working in immigration enforcement. The tactical preparation and equipment found at the scene suggest this was planned as a serious assault on federal facilities. As more defendants face arraignment, we'll continue to learn about the scope and the organization of this operation. The investigation continues, and the authorities are working to understand whether this represents an isolated incident or part of a broader pattern of organized violence against law enforcement. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.